Brace for that. Put your seatbelts on, folks, because we're going to jump into the 30-minute COVID segment. And this is not just, this is not just going to be a COVID segment because, this is just all kinds of ridiculous fucking garbage. All kinds. You've probably seen the headlines if you know what I'm talking about, but here we go. The headline is cropped out. U.S. military braces for impact of COVID vaccine mandate repeal. So, as we know, the one institution where the U.S. government, quote unquote, has the power and authority to institute an actual vaccine mandate is the U.S. military. That is the one and only institution where they can do so. Again, there was never a vaccine mandate in this country in any other capacity. Anybody who was doing like a protest against mandates, they lived in a fantasy world. There was no mandate. Joe Biden's message to Americans that aren't in the U.S. military was get the vaccine or don't. That was the message. That was the mandate. You either get vaccinated or you don't. That's not a mandate. A mandate is a one-option scenario where they force you to get the vaccine. That's what I would have preferred. But we didn't have that. So anybody that wants to talk about how they survived America's vaccine mandate, whatever bullshit, they're lying. They live in fairy tale land. There was no vaccine mandate in this country unless you're a part of the U.S. military. And now again, I just want to say this. Democrats control the House. Democrats control the Senate as of this moment, and Democrats control the White House. So this is a bunch of bullshit. Okay? But either way, let's check it. As a repeal of the U.S. military's COVID-19 vaccine mandate took a step closer to becoming law on Thursday, military officers and experts are warning it's a change that could have adverse ripple effects on military readiness and ability of service members to deploy around the world. Now again, if you are a part of the U.S. military, there is I believe it is yearly. It might be more frequent. I'm not sure. But I know that they have a regular vaccine schedule because the U.S. military is designed to be able, if there's like a world war that breaks out tomorrow, they need to be ready to be dropped into the fucking jungles or, into the desert, into whatever, into the fucking Arctics. They need to be ready to go anywhere in the world. And all across the world, in different parts of the world, there's different hot spots and pockets of different kinds of disease, right? So they're routinely vaccinated for all kinds of diseases that, assuming they never get deployed, they would never otherwise need the vaccination for, right? So removing the COVID vaccine from this, but not removing the other vaccines, is just bullshit, conspiratorial, COVID denialist garbage. And again, it's not January 3rd. It's actually December 9th. And as a result, Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and this is still happening. So, quote, "This isn't just our side of the equation," a defense official told CNN regarding the possible impact of the change. "It's what our partners and people we would train and work with are asking us to do to enter the country." The National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, released on Tuesday, includes a provision that would rescind the Pentagon's current mandate requiring troops receive the COVID vaccine. And while Republican lawmakers have celebrated its inclusion, the White House said it's a mistake, though President Joe Biden has not made clear if he will sign the bill with... Now again, as of right now, this is as it's referred to in the business, a must-pass bill. Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Now, again, the Senate, we'll talk about that in a moment, okay? Give me a sec. But as of this moment, until January 3rd, which is when the new House comes in, where there is going to be a Republican majority in the House. That has not happened yet, right? We still got a little bit less than a month, about 3 weeks. The House passed the NDAA on Thursday in a 350 to 80 vote. Now, again, they could have passed it just on party lines without this stupid COVID vaccine garbage, but they're not doing so. Why? Because Democrats are the party of pandemic denialism. That's why. Democrats want to pretend that we are not in a pandemic. That's their policy. That's why Joe Biden declared victory on the pandemic during the State of the Union, during July 4th, and a couple months ago during the 60 Minutes interview. He just has kept saying, the pandemic's over, the pandemic's over, the pandemic's over. Why would you need to say it 38 times if it was over the first time, right? A little weird, a little strange. But again, it's just crazy ass motherfucking shit. Deputy Defense Press Secretary Sabrina Singh declined on Wednesday to go into detail about what the Pentagon was preparing for if the mandate was repealed, instead emphasizing that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin believes the mandate is important for the health of the force. Quote, what is important to the readiness of the force is getting the vaccine, Singh said. So yes, it would impact the readiness of the force. You're more prone to getting COVID-19. Now again, this is one of those situations, right, where Republicans are caught between a rock and a hard place. Now, they're not, right, because Republicans, the entire ideology of neo-Nazism is based on hypocrisy, right? That's why, like, you know, Nazis would, why did Nazis hate Jewish people at the core? Because they thought that Jewish people were better than them, and they were like, whoa, they're so much smarter than us, so we got to take them out, right? Because these people are fucking crybabies. So when they cry and whine about the master race and all that other stupid fucking bullshit, what they're really talking about is they just want to be the ones in power. And now, again, this is two situations where Republicans are usually, like, you have to choose one. Either you want the strongest military in the world, or you want to engage in pseudoscience, anti-science, COVID disinformation, QAnon conspiracy campaigns. You got to choose one. And it seems that they are sacrificing the power of the U.S. military in favor of their COVID denialist QAnon conspiracy theories. And that includes Democrats. And you might be thinking, QAnon, Democrats? Yes. Yes. There are not 380 Republicans in the House of Representatives, so some Democrats went on board with this. Why? Because they're pandemic denialists, and the only way you can be a pandemic denialist is, again, embracing QAnon. Now, again, you can take different roads to enter the same location, right? You got a city, imagine you're on a map, right? You got a city, there's like 4 routes you can take. One is like QAnon, one is like where we go one, we go all, whatever, right? The other one is like, oh, you know, I followed all the rules and now I want to turn my mask back on. The other one is, oh, I got the first couple shots, but no more, right? But they all lead to the same spot. And that is the destruction of this fucking country, right? And again, I don't really care how people got to where they are. Actions speak louder than words. If you say, I don't believe in QAnon, you say, I don't believe in vaccine conspiracy theories, and yet you only got vaccinated 2 years ago, I don't know. It looks like you do, right? If I look at a demographic of people that aren't vaccinated, I'm going to say these are anti-vaccine conspiracy theorists. I don't care if you're, but I believe in the vaccine. It's just but you're an anti-vaccine conspiracy theorist. Just own it. Just acknowledge it, right? So again, now Republicans and Democrats, but again, Republicans love the U.S. military. They're the strongest military in the world. We got to be ready to fight China on the drop of a dime, right? And they are sacrificing now again, I don't fucking care about the U.S. military. My opinion, fuck them. They all get COVID and die. Fuck them. Fuck the troops. Fuck you. Fuck your family who's in fucking whatever. I don't fucking care. Fuck them. Okay? That's my opinion on the troops. But Republicans, you say fuck the troops in front of a Republican, you're going to get your ass beat because these guys are fucking macho men, like tough guys, super fucks, right? But again, actions speak louder than words. I say fuck the troops, right? And so now the entire Republican Party is agreeing. Fuck the troops. Let's get them all killed before they can even see combat. That's what they're going for here. Right? It's crazy. It's just crazy. Anyway. It's not just about the U.S. American troops often have additional vaccine requirements depending on the area of the world at which they are deploying or being rotated through. Under the Pentagon's current policy, service members who have not gotten the vaccine are considered non-deployable, Singh said Wednesday. Quote, make our job more difficult. Indeed, retired General Robert Abrams, who previously commanded U.S. troops in South Korea, told CNN that the vaccine repeal, quote, will make our job more difficult, referring to the duties of overseas commanders. The COVID-19 vaccine is required for entry to South Korea and Japan, countries that have thousands of U.S. service members. Repealing the vaccine mandate will put the U.S. forces in an awkward position, Abrams said, because the host nation expects us to follow their regulations and SOFA, status of force agreement, requires it. So again, once again, this isn't like the idea that they're not repealing all vaccine mandates and just the COVID one. I need you to understand, this is a death cult. Not the Republican Party, not the Democratic Party, but our government as a whole. Both parties in this instance. Now, again, obviously, each party has a degree of insanity that outweighs, the Republican Party, obviously, much more ruthless, much more insane than the Democratic Party on average. But on this issue, on the issue of COVID, right? And there's a bunch of other issues where Democrats and Republicans are not even close, right? And there's a lot of issues where they are exactly in lockstep. And on pandemic denialism, on pretending that COVID-19 does not exist, the Democrats and the Republicans are in the same boat. That's why you have Democratic President Joe Biden saying the pandemic is over right before we've hit the worst surge yet, right? That's why you have Republicans that want to, repeal COVID-19 vaccine mandates for the military, even though they support the military ostensibly, right? They agree. On this issue, they agree. That's why, again, if you look at the vote, 350 to 80, both parties agree. There is no such thing as science. There is no such thing as medicine, and viruses don't exist. That is the coalition that has been built here. That is bipartisan in the United States of America. Viruses are fake. Germs are fake. We don't need to wash our hands before cooking. Let's sign it into law. That is their perspective. So, let's look into this. Officials have experts raised other concerns, however, about the impact repealing the mandate could have on troops already in uniform. Rachel Van Ladingham, a retired Air Force judge, advocate, and law professor at Southwestern, told CNN that there could be a ripple effect for units if some service members are unable to deploy because of the vaccine. That is especially notable for smaller units like those found in special operations community, while conventional forces may be able to ensure that they have the numbers needed for deployment or rotation. Smaller units could face more of a challenge if the few people they have are unable to deploy because of a vaccine requirement. Now, again, the idea that motherfuckers in what was the fucking bullshit that killed Osama bin Laden? What was that? Fucking some super group or whatever. It's the Navy SEALs, right? The idea that we're gonna have 4 Navy SEALs or 5 and 3 of them are QAnoners. Hey, special operations may not be the word. Hey, now that I think about it, special operations sounds a lot more fitting if the Navy SEALs are apparently going to be so afraid of vaccines or whatever special operations group. Yes, I agree. They are special operations and they should be treated that way. But again, I think it's hilarious, the idea that the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, both parties, if you say fuck the troops around either one of these people, they're going, oh my God, right? If you ever say anything critical of the U.S. military, these people will literally have a heart attack live on on C-SPAN, right? But both of them, at this moment, pandemic denialism, pretending COVID is fake, outweighs protecting our military and our country's strength. Now, again, you ask me, I say defund these motherfuckers. I say, oh, we need to project strength. I say, fuck you. How about you project my cock and balls into your mouth, motherfucker? Right? So again, that's my opinion on this thing. But now again, pointing out hypocrisy doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Pointing out hypocrisy. Oh, wow, Republicans are hypocrites. No shit, they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites on purpose. But this is one of those situations where, again, how did they square this one? If you have a Republican in your family, I ask them, just for me, ask them and report back to me, how do they feel about this? I'm just curious. If any Republicans watching, how do you feel about this? My assumption would be that they think COVID is fake, and therefore, if the military isn't getting the vaccine, that they're going to be more effective. That's the conspiracy theory that I think that they would come up with. But again, that's just funny shit. Anyway, war is dumb. Militaries are dumb. More people kill themselves every year than die in wars. So, there you go. Little fun fact. All right, I think I did a COVID segment in less than an hour.